Preparing for a major interview? I've got you covered. Today, I'm going to talk about the key steps you need to do before, during, and after an interview that will make you stand out ahead of the rest and get you that job role. Now, before we move on, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you get regular updates on career and leadership success. I'm Meera Ramani. I am a leadership and executive coach, coaching leaders across the world to be and be known as the best in class so that they get the rewards, income, impact, and influence that they desire. So let's move on to that job interview. What you need to do before the job interview, you might know. Prepare a CV, but don't make the mistake that everybody else is making. They make a standard CV which is pages long and just rambles on, and it bores people to death. You want to make sure that your CV stands out. So make sure you don't make these mistakes. Don't make it pages and pages long. Try to contain your CV within maximum 2 pages. The second thing when it comes to CV is make sure you quote numbers. Make it specific. A lot of people say that I was successful in the role as senior project manager. But what does success mean? Did you crack a 10 million deal? Did you hire 5 people? Did you promote 20 people? Make it specific. Use numbers so it looks realistic and people know your impact. And the third is people use generic terms, boring terms in their resume, and they don't come to the point. The resume just rambles on. Make it crisp and succinct, and make sure you highlight keywords that are in the job description that you've applied for in the interview. So that's about the CV. Now, after preparing the CV, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is not 9 years old and there are some latest updates in there, because in today's world, everybody goes to LinkedIn to check out each other's profiles in the corporate context. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is updated. Now that you're on LinkedIn, make sure you send out connection requests to people in your industry, people who are hiring, so that you're aware of what's going on in the industry as well, in addition to this role, just in case this role doesn't work out, that you have so many more opportunities. So you can send them a personalized LinkedIn invite saying that, hey, I found your profile very interesting. I see that we are both working in the same industry and we both are working on this key technology. It would be great to connect with you. So while on LinkedIn, make sure you send some connection requests to key people in the industry. You can search by keywords and make sure you make some connections so that even if this job interview doesn't turn out well, you still have a lot more opportunities to tap into. And it's also building your network for the future. Think beyond this role. Think beyond the current timeline into the future of your career. So that's your LinkedIn profile and connection requests. Now, while there, another thing that you can do on LinkedIn is check up the hiring manager. What is their profile? What kind of jobs have they held? What kind of countries and companies have they been part of? So that when you go into the interview, you can bring in some nuances of the industries that they have worked in or technologies they have worked in. So there is an instant connect. So that's what I want you to do ahead of the interview. Now we come to the interview. At least an hour before, or preferably the night before, make sure your workspace, the interview space, looks nice and professional, not cluttered with wrappers lying around or waste paper lying around. No. Make sure it's professional, the background looks decent, and that you are well presented. You're wearing a nice script shirt or a nice top and you're ready for the interview. Make sure that your desktop or your computer, you're on a guest account so there are no pop-ups or embarrassing personal information showing up in case you have to screen share. And in the interview, of course, you will talk about your technical and business stuff and ace that interview. Now in the interviewer might ask you a question that might make you nervous. Now what I want you to do is calm yourself down and rephrase that question saying, let me understand that question right. Is that what you mean? That buys you time to think about it. You can even take a sip of water and take a deep calming breath, which I highly recommend, and then respond to the best of your abilities. Remember, it's your calm and equipoise that will also impress the interviewer. Another technique in interviews is a lot of times people don't mirror the interviewer. What is mirroring? That they have the same body language, they have the same tonality, speech, etc. So let's say your interviewer is sitting like this with their body towards you. You don't want to be sitting back, with a laid back attitude. Or you don't want to have jittery body language or nervous twiddling of the pen, etc. Another thing about tonality is your interviewer might be speaking in a very calm and slow manner. So make sure You're not speaking very haphazardly and very fast. Match the tonality and speed of the interviewer. And make sure you also reflect some of the words they ask in their questions, so that you use the same words in your response. So that increases the trust between the interviewer and you subconsciously. Now the interview has happened, it's been a pleasant interview, you've bid goodbye, you are expecting to hear from them. This is the post-interview part, to make sure you're doing your best to be seen and heard as well, to be on their minds as well. A lot of people worry about what to do in this phase when they haven't heard from the interviewer. What I would recommend is sending them an email saying that, hey XYZ, how are you doing? I just thought of checking in and to tell you that some of the interview questions you asked were brilliant. For example, I had an afterthought about this particular question you asked, and this is what I would add to it. Use something that is really valuable to the point that the interviewer asked, that might bring a different twist to the game, right? To twist to the way they see things, if you have something like that to offer. So then you stand out head and shoulders above the rest. You're not just sending an email saying, hey, can you give me updates? You're giving additional value. So they feel like, hey, this guy or this person is amazing. Let me write back to them. So these are the key steps I would suggest pre-interview, during interview, and post-interview to stand out head and shoulders and to land your favorite job. All the best.